In this demo, I'll be showing you 3 features that will help you be more productive with your machine learning tasks. First, I'm super excited to show you how you can use Terraform to manage your Azure machine learning resources. This is a new feature, and it's now in public preview. After that, I'm going to show you how you can automate machine learning training and deployment using GitHub Actions. And last, I'm going to show you how you can use App Insights to easily analyze your custom logs. Let's get started. Imagine that I work for a manufacturing plant and was asked to put together an automated solution that will help us detect defects in our assembly line. I did some research and learned that the most common cause of defects is a loose connection in a circuit board. So I decided to focus on solving this particular problem first. I first collected a bunch of data that contains both connected circuit boards, like this one, and unconnected circuit boards, like this one. Then I created a model that can distinguish between the two, and it's just a ResNet 18 computer vision model. And I can train this model locally on my machine with a small data set, but I really want to train it with a large data set for better accuracy. And for that, I'm going to need a cluster of GPUs and the power of the cloud. My company uses services from different cloud vendors, so we've been using Terraform to manage those services. I'm excited that now, with Azure Machine Learning's recent public preview, I can use the same Terraform declarative language I already know to manage my Azure machine learning resources. Let's take a look. To make it easier to start creating Azure resources using Terraform, Microsoft has provided us with several quick start templates. In my scenario, I'm specifically looking for machine learning resources, and so I have 3 templates available to me. I have this basic template, have this other template that adds some security resources, and this one that works with my existing security resources. In my case, I don't have any security resources already created, but I definitely want security, so that I'm going to go with this one. I'm just going to show you here some of the resources that it creates. So here we can see where it creates the Azure Machine Learning Workspace, which is here. And we can also see where it creates a virtual network with 3 subnets. I've already downloaded these files to the Terraform folder of my project. Now I just need to execute 3 commands that I'm very familiar with because I'm an experienced Terraform user. You can see my Terraform files here already created. And then from the same directory, I first initialize Terraform. Then I make an execution plan. And finally, I apply the plan. Once the plan is applied, the resources are created and I can see them on the Azure portal. I can look at my resource group that just got created, and within that resource group I can see my machine learning workspace, and I can also see, I should be able to see my virtual network also, which is here, and also the subnets. Okay, so now that I have the foundational resources created, I want to train my model in the cloud using Azure ML. I'm now using a machine that has access to my secure workspace, and I need to create a few more resources that will help me with training and deployment, which I do using YAML configuration files. For example, this file creates my dataset, this file creates my job, so it actually executes the training code. And once the training completes, then I have a trained model, so I want to register that model with Azure with this file. And then I want to create an endpoint, which I do with this file. And I could create each of these resources using AZML commands in the CLI, but that would get repetitive over time because every time I change some code, I need to remember to execute the right command. To automate this process, I decided to create a GitHub workflow. And this workflow contains all these AZML commands as GitHub actions. Then whenever I make a change and I push it to the main branch, and these actions get executed in sequence. For example, if I go here, let's check that in. And here you can see my workflow on GitHub, and you can see what got triggered when I checked in. So let's see what's happening. So you can see lots of things happen in this workflow, including running the job, registering the model, and adding a deployment or an endpoint. Once this process completes, I check the Azure ML Studio to make sure that my resources were created. So here you can see the model that got created. Here you can see the endpoint, and if we go to experiments, then you can see the training run. Now I can make a prediction using my custom model in the cloud by invoking the endpoint. I can invoke it using an HTTP request or an AZML command. I'm going to pass this image as input, and I'm going to invoke the endpoint using this command. And there you go. The model accurately predicts that the circuit board is unconnected. Now let's take a look at my score file, which contains the code that gets executed when the endpoint is invoked. You can see that I'm logging some pretty important metrics here. I have a payload here with lots of information, which then I print down here. I'd like to see the results of this logging. One option is to go to the endpoint and look at the deployment logs. You can see here that I have my payload with all the information that I printed in the score file. And this is fine while I'm developing the app, but it's not the best interface to analyze the large number of requests I'm going to get once the app is in production. A much better way is to look at app insights. So let's go back to the Azure portal. This is my resource group, so I'm going to find my machine learning workspace, and then I'm going to click on Application Insights. Then I'm going to click on Logs, and then here I'm going to type the following. Then I'm going to click Run. And here's the result. So if I go to my content, I can see here my payload and everything that I printed within my scoring file. In this demo, I've shown you 3 features that will increase your productivity when working with Azure Machine Learning. I used Terraform to create Azure ML resources. I used GitHub Actions to automate model training and deployment. And I used App Insights to analyze custom logs. I do hope that you'll give these features a try. Thank you.